Okay, so today we are going to review the measures of variability, which we talked about yesterday. Since I'm not here, I do expect to see these in your notes if you haven't already written them down. So take notes over this page and then the next 2 pages as well. So measures of variability, of course, our minimum is our smallest value, maximum is the largest. Range is the difference between the minimum and the maximum. So that's where we subtract that largest number, subtract the smallest from the largest number. Okay, so we're moving on to our different quartiles, and this is how we find our quartile range. What we do is we find our different medians by splitting our data into sections, and you're going to see that in just a minute. But we're going to call our first quartile the median of the lower half of the data set. Okay, so that would be quartile 1. Quartile 3, or the third quartile, is the median of the upper half of the data set. Okay, and we're going to go through how to find each of these in just a second. Just make sure you write down these definitions right now. And then interquartile range is where we find the difference between the first and the third quartiles. We take quartile 3 and subtract quartile 1. And we do call quartile 1 and quartile 3. You'll see it a lot as just Q1 and Q3 as you see on this video. Okay, so this next one we're going to look at, here's our example. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is take and find our median of our entire set of data. Remember, we have to put them in order from least to greatest first, and these aren't quite in order. So we've got 138, 144, 150, 160, 169, and 175. Okay, so I got all of them in here. And now the first thing we're going to do is find our original median. Okay, so I do that. Remember, we take and mark off until we find our median. I do have 2 in the middle. Which is the 150 and the 160. The reason why I didn't box that in like I normally do is because we are going to have to do something with those numbers in a second. So in order to find out what our median is, we have to first find the average of the 150 and the 160. We do that by adding the 2 numbers together, 160 plus 150. We add them and get 310, and then we take that answer and divide by 2. Okay, so 255, so it's 155. Okay, so 155 is our median of our entire set of data. So what that is saying is right here we've got 155 is our median. And we also know this is quartile 2, which we didn't write down earlier, but quartile 2 is the median of your entire set of data. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to find the median of our lower set of data and then our upper set. So our lower set of data is right here where I drew this line earlier. This is our lower set of data. So we're going to find the median of that the same way we find the median usually. So I've got this one and this one. So this 144 is my quartile 1. It's our first quartile. So remember, when we're doing these, the first one we have to find is our median, which is quartile 2. And then we find quartile 1. And now we can take this upper set of data and find quartile 3 by doing the same thing. So we've got the 169 is quartile 3. So now at this point, in order for me to find out my interquartile range, I'm going to take my quartile 3 right here, and then I'm going to subtract my quartile 1. So 169, 169, and subtract my 144. And when I do that, I will get 525, which is my interquartile range. Interquartile range. Okay, also known as IQR. Okay, I'm going to show you one more example. I'm going to flip over to another screen. Okay, so here's just the same information again. This is just for your information, your notes. And this problem is already worked through for you. I'm going to add these notes onto Schoology so that you'll have them as well. But there's your data. We go through. We find... Oops, I'm going to see if I can move this back over. Okay, we go through and we first find our original median. Okay, same way we normally do. Okay, so in this one, it ends up being the 10, which is already listed for you. I'm going to erase this because it's kind of darker than it normally is. Okay, so then we have our median is 10. Now at this time, since we just have that one number in the middle, we don't reuse it like we did before when we were finding it in the last problem. So this doesn't get reused. So now we're going to find the median of our lower half of data in the same way. We end up with the 6. Okay, and then our upper half of the data, and we're going to end up with the 13. So 13 minus 6 gives us 7. So our range is 12 and our interquartile range is 7. Okay, so that's all for this video. I am going to load some notes into Schoology so that you can just look at them if you need to. And again, if you do have questions, you'll have to ask me on Thursday when I return. I'll see you soon.